Thought that was instrumental. I was gonna cut up.
Oh no.
Lil Pat saved it.
Thank you, Lil Pat, for coming in.
Look, I'm selling that gas around town. It's a lot like surround sound. Tell the plug I need a pound. Different flavors, OG and my wow. These niggas, they act.
He needs to let me on the track. www.jamradio.com is going down this Friday. Real with Rillos and Corn. Corn is on the way. But our videographer lady,
Hi.
I didn't get her name. I'm terrible with names. I would say Bree.
No.
You want everybody to be Bree. What is going on? It's not a B King
Bree?
song.
It was B. It's B something.
It's definitely not.
It's
What was the
Cindy,
Instagram?
My name
actually.
is Sydney.
What was your Instagram?
It's
Behold the Goddess.
All
Okay,
right,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, we gotta give
I'm
them
better
that.
with Instagram names, so I remember the B. So this is Cindy.
Yeah, it's Sydney, like Australia.
Sydney. Oh, all right, cool.
So y'all can call me Sid if you want.
See it.
And as he mentioned, I am definitely a videographer. I write, direct, produce short films, music videos, theatrical plays.
So I'm gonna be in a play soon, hopefully, if the Lord say the same.
I mean, are you a comedian? Because I do have a play that's coming up.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh.
I'm a comedian, actor, radio host, all this stuff. Just let me know. I will be available.
Will you?
Yes, I
might
will
the
be
host in
available.
October.
Let's do it. Love you. Get the contract. Make sure she sign it before she leave, before she change her mind.
Let me see how this goes, baby. Okay.
It's Friday. Real Rillos and Corn. Corn is actually on the way at Black Crocodile on Instagram. There was a guy whose car kept breaking down on the freeway, and it was not Corn, but Corn was probably caught behind him because I got caught behind that same guy. If you know your car breaking down, get out the fast lane, please.
They don't want to give up.
Yeah. The car gave up. Shit. But yeah, Corn is on the way. I don't know if he had any topics. I got a couple things I wanted to talk about because it's just a lot that's going on. I said I want to talk about something. Lovey dropped the phone. Like, I don't know what this nigga about to say. Now, I just want to talk about everything that's going on in the world. Like, it's a lot of different things that's affecting the black community, and a lot of us don't really realize like how it's affecting us. Not like you already have the pandemic, coronavirus. Everybody knows about that, and it's your choice if you're gonna get your vaccine or not. But do your research. If it's safer to wear a mask, wear your mask. Do whatever you got to do. You grown. But as far as this other half, with what's going on with this, in January, all them folks ran up in the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
Trying to change the election. They basically voted that they wasn't gonna even look into it. They was just gonna watch it. They came back and they decided they was gonna do an investigation amongst themselves. So they got two different. The Democrats and Republicans got two different sets of people, and they talked about how the trials was gonna go, who they was gonna put on trial. They literally sat down like lawyers, because that's what all of them really are, and they said this is how the trial is gonna go, and both of them agreed to how the trial would go and who they would put on trial.
Yeah.
So now that you have this trial going on, you got police officers who were defending the Capitol. They was just at work that day.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was going on. But you have these other people, a lot of these officers, a couple of these officers were black. And if you watch it, I encourage everybody to watch what's going on with the trial, at least watch some of their testimonies and things that's going on, because they're already officers. And then you have African-American officers at that. So it's kind of like when we're doing our Black Lives Matter marches and there's Africans on the police force, they respectably are with us. They're not against us. They're like, hey, respect. We just want y'all to do what y'all doing peacefully. They were the same way at the Capitol. We see y'all coming, but y'all gonna do what y'all want to do peacefully. They didn't know what them people had planned.
Trying to do, yeah.
They had began to find bombs outside. Then you don't know who's riding and who's just pushing the door, because you can't really just be shooting everybody, because then you're going to start a whole war. You don't know how many guns they got. So they respectfully defended the Capitol, kept them out, stuff like that as much as they could. So as these officers are testifying, you're hearing some of the things that were being said as far as how they were being called nigger and this and that, like as the people were coming in. So you go back and you pick who you want to testify, but you look at all this evidence that you have. Because with that evidence comes the video recordings. You got the police body cams. So they had to vote for this not to come about, because the videos haven't been released. If anybody had a camera on, I'm sure the black cop had a camera on him. But they showing all this footage, like it's like they picked and choose which footage they wanted to show as far as the police. So I want to encourage people to pay attention to what's going on, because when the officers get on that stand, they sworn in on the Bible. They not lying when they get on that stand. Now they're going to show you what they want to show you as far as media wise and things they want to let out. Because if you let what's going on out and just put it out there for the screen, the videos and some of the things that were being said, we're going to be in an uproar as far as, black people.
Right.
Because it was a whole lot of racial slurs, disrespectful stuff towards the officers, threats that were being made. While one of the officers was on trial, somebody called his cell phone and left him a hate message, basically saying he was lying on the stand and this and that. And now the FBI is pulling this and tracking this down. So it's like, if this man is under oath, he's telling the truth. If these people out here being racist, we got guns, they got guns, they got bombs. I don't know if we got any bombs on us right now, but it's like they more prepared than we are right now.
This has been going on for a year before this even happened. They've been gearing up for this a year before. There was a TikTok.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah. Well, we know it was at least a year because there was a TikTok that went viral of this white man talking about the race war and how it was going to go. You guys
getting ready.
And I remember, like, I saw on Facebook earlier this year one of those memories. Facebook is good for memories. And I had created a post talking about how scared I was 2 years ago based off of seeing some of the activity on white TikTok. Now, personally, I did an experiment, right? Like, of course, I'm a black female. I'm older. So, the algorithms will do certain things and only show me hair care products, menopause type shit. And for some reason, Facebook thinks I'm gay. I don't know what that's about. But,
no.
I don't know. But whatever.
Maybe you don't know.
I don't know. But it shows me all kinds of things that are supposedly catered to me. So I tried to do things to mess the algorithm up a couple years ago, where I would just research and search white lives matter, all lives matter, and see what it took me.
You about to get recruited.
Jesus, did I ever? I started seeing all kinds of things pop up on TikTok and how all these different Karens and Kevins were talking about how, and they were doing like all this weird shit, like nurses in the hospital were giving people extra medicine when they shouldn't have been doing it, and laughing about that shit on TikTok like it was some shit to do. Like, y'all are really killing people. Y'all are really doing like really crazy shit. Like, but it's insane.
But then on the flip side, if you look at our community, we doing some crazy stuff too. We out here, it's a lot of us killing us out here. So I'm not saying, I'm not trying to compare the two. What I'm saying is we got a whole bunch of enemies out here, and I don't feel like we stand together enough, because we already got to go fight them. Then within our communities, we got to fight us. Then we got to fight the people who's supposed to protect us with the police officers, because they fighting us.
So here's the thing on that, right? Like, I don't believe in black on black crime. I don't. There's white on white crime. There's Korean on Korean crime. It's really crime according to your environment. If you're a criminal and this is where you live and you decide that I need gas money, you're not going to go to the white side and rob them because you can't afford to get there. You're going to rob who's around you. You're going to kick doors or where you feel like it's easy to kick doors.
But in that situation, it's easier to kick doors because there's less money inside of the hood. It seems like we know who each other are, but we're easier targets to each other, because I can go right around the street. I know they don't really be outside like that, but I know they gone. And I go kick their door in, take all their stuff, and they'll never know it's me because I don't fool with them. I don't be
that's happened to me.
But that it's one thing when you going through it and you out here, like you go to the white neighbor and hit them up. But when you hitting up your own community and robbing your own people and killing your own people, like if you look at what's going on in the news, like everybody's dying. All races are dying.
Yeah.
But if you look at a lot of the stories that's going on, it's a lot of African Americans.
It's because that's what they publicize.
That's what they publicize. But if you go look, you can look at what they publicize, but they always gonna put the facts out there.
Okay.
Wait about a month and go look at.
What do you know about East Texas?
I don't know much about East Texas.
East Texas.
As far you talking about like the Vida area, with Jasper area.
Oh no, Jesus Lord, I reverted. I reverted like I was in Dallas. No, I mean
how far
Northeast Texas.
I don't
like
know much.
Longview, Tyler.
Yeah, I don't know much about that. I know people from there, but I don't.
It's predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear Longview, Tyler in the news.
Mm-hmm.
Longview and Tyler are the leading most drug-ridden cities in America.
Mm-hmm.
Top five. But it's predominantly white, so you don't hear about it. It's meth running out of that thing like they Breaking Bad Part 3. Okay? And so my thing is there is truth in the news, but the news is always skewed to show the worst parts of us. It's the bigger story, quote unquote.
Where are more of us at? Where is there more media at?
No. You're not hearing what I'm saying. It's white people in Longview and Tyler, and they are leading in meth.
Exactly. So, and it comes down to media. If you if you go back to the early 1900s,
Mm-hmm.
you got the Negro leagues. You got the baseball leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the Negro league wanted to be in the major leagues. But all the major league talent was in the Negro leagues.
Yeah.
We were way better than them. That's why when one of us went over there, we was a superstar.
Right.
So it wasn't about, like, back then you had a couple black media companies. We were investing in ourselves. Now, we didn't have the money they had, so in order to get some of the money they had, we had to cross over. Mm-hmm. But in crossing over, we stopped focusing as much on what we had. So you gotta. That's why it's important to have places like Love the Jam Radio. Uh-huh. It's a black-owned radio station. It's a black-owned media outlet. But if you look at all the money that's being spent in the world on media as far as advertising and stuff like that, you got like 150 million going out, and the black media outlets only getting 1% of that. We are our own voice. They not portraying us in a good light. We just talked about how anytime crimes happen, they talking about us. They talking about us. So in order to get our word out, we should be investing in some of these black media stations. So even spending probably 10 cents a day, if everybody just spent 10 cents on somebody just put it into the radio station, we can really get the word out there. We can have newspapers out there because we only gonna broadcast us. Of course, they want us to look better than them. If we talking about somebody that we really don't fool with like that, we're going to make ourselves seem bigger than them.
But, I think we need to take a card from white media, honestly. And I think we need to broadcast the white fights. I think we need to show
We should.
You know what I'm saying? Do the exact opposite. So for me, I'm not a proponent of black on black crime. I don't believe that that's a thing. I think that we just people commit crimes based off of their opportunity. Mm-hmm. And based off of passion, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're human beings. So if you fucking my wife, it don't matter if you white, black, Mexican. Mm-hmm. I'm finna shoot you if that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in that. But I think that one of the other things that we have to really consider,
that's still a crime too. That's a crime of passion.
That's a crime of passion. That's my point. So it's not really black on black. Like if my wife prefers my husband, why? Am I gay?
Three strikes and you out. That's two, right, Lovey?
If my husband likes black women and he's sleeping with a black woman and I'm black, it's a crime of passion still. Yeah, we both black, but it's not really black on black crime. I'm killing her because of what she did. She could have been Asian. Yeah. Right? So that's my point.
But it'll get portrayed as black on black crime.
Correct. And so that's why I'm saying I don't really believe in that, because the same thing happens with white people. And if you look at history, white people are more violent than we are. But y'all aren't ready for that conversation.
So when of course they more violent. They've been blowing up buildings and all that stuff. We ain't fucking with bombs and shit.
At all.
But the thing is that we don't really have media outlet to put, like, we got, you have the stations like 97.9 that try to promote black businesses and stuff like that. But as far as what's going on in the community, it ain't really nobody that's out there doing that. It ain't nobody that's really investing into any other black stations. Because I feel like if we invested in ourselves, we can get the word out more. Like,
that was what I was trying to say.
Gotcha.
So listen, one thing that white people definitely do, it's classism. that is how racism was able to succeed, was through classism, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the rich white people
Mm-hmm.
who were the plantation owners, and they enabled the white people who were not as rich as they were to be overseers.
Mm-hmm.
And they put them in a certain class. And to be honest, if you ask a plantation owner between White Bob, who was watching the slaves, and Jethro, who was a slave, they the same, because they out there both working the field. But what the plantation owner did was empower Jethro to feel like he was better than them. So we have to, as Black people, stop trying to combine all of us and realize that there is a set of classes inside the Black community.
Oh yeah, of course. You have rich Blacks and you have poor Blacks. But even going back into the slavery times, if you look at that whole situation, how we ended up in slavery, that was a part of the system. Like it was one time it was a law where they can kill us and take everything we got. That was part of the law. So even coming down slavery, we don't agree with it. It was something that was terrible, but that was the law in that time. The problem is the way we're being treated now. Like, so we can discuss slavery and the things that went on during slavery, but that was the law at the time. So it's really like we can talk about it as much as we want, but it wasn't right.
But I did it as a quick parallel, right? But the same thing that they did back then is the same thing Trump did.
Yeah.
Trump used classism.
Yes.
To create what's happening right now.
Yes. He
empowered the poor white people, because as soon as Hillary Clinton said, y'all are deplorables, he took that word and ran with it.
So if you look and it just shows you how weak-minded a lot of people are when it comes, because they're poor white people. They're voting for Trump. He's not even on your side.
He ain't been poor a day in his life.
He eliminated your benefits when it comes to the Obamacare. It's like, we don't care. If they going for Biden, we gonna go for Trump, regardless of what Biden is talking about or doing. Now, right now, they still benefiting off of Biden.
Yeah.
But in the back of their head, they so far gone, they think, oh, this was in place when Trump. Yeah, exactly. And you'll hear them say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at stuff like the coronavirus, before the election, Russia and China started fucking with us. I mean, it just is what they fucking with the election. You still don't think Trump gonna win? Like, I honestly knew I knew he was leading towards the win, because you already had a lot of Black people who didn't quite understand what was going on that was still riding for him. You had celebrities shaking his hand, people who just voted for him because he was with Lil Wayne or Kanye or something like that. So you still had that group of people, but I didn't think he was gonna win simply because he still showed you who he was as a person throughout that process, and a lot of people look past that.
They did.
But that tells you what type of people they are. They're willing to look past all these flaws, and then you start looking at a lot of things that these people do. They involved in sex trafficking. You got all these politicians who this is coming out, that is coming out. It's because that goes back to how strong your mind is.
Yeah.
If you sit up here following Trump and all the things he's doing and all the things he said, how he basically motivated you to go into the Capitol. He was on the phone calls with some of y'all, hey, come on, let's make it happen. Then after, y'all need to just go. He basically bailed out on them at the end.
He did.
Because they really didn't know what to do at the time. A lot of them people didn't go to jail that day.
They did know. They knew. They went in there to go and get and hang Pence because they turned on him.
Yeah. But they at that point they had turned on them. But what I'm saying is they was already in cahoots with Trump.
Yeah.
If you notice that day, somebody died, but a lot of people went home. They still looking for people.
Mm-hmm.
After all that, y'all still looking for people. Yeah. Y'all got us searching social media and doing FBI work because y'all let them go home. Y'all wasn't ready. They had too many people on the inside, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, they still got people on the inside. Yeah. You got all people who vowed to serve the country and serve their town and serve their city, people who were military minded, and they all running up in the Capitol because they think the election got stole.
Yeah.
Like, do y'all research? Even if it did get stole, the people who were stealing it, what was on Trump's side?
Well, they did do the trials, and they did go state by state. You know, they did go to Georgia.
With the recounts?
Yeah, they did those. And it wasn't stolen.
But to this day...
They're never going to believe it because it's not what they want. And I don't think that it's weak-minded. I don't think that it's a weak mind, because a weak mind would have gave up months ago, right?
No.
This is about wanting to feel accepted and wanting to be a part of something bigger than they are.
Now, when I say weak mind, like what you said, I feel like it's levels to weak minds. You can have people who easily persuade to do stuff. You can have people who can be easily persuaded not to do stuff. They can be some of the greatest people, greatest thinkers in the world, but when it comes to certain things, they can't think for themselves. I think in this situation, it was a lot of people who's just really not thinking for themselves, because there's so much going on in the world, and then the pandemic and stuff like that. If you just sit back and look at life, you can draw the conclusion before everything even plays out.
Yeah.
If you can't just you can't just go on the internet and look at a store and be like, oh, this is real. I shouldn't do this. Or I should do this. Like, do your research yourself.
But people do that when it's something they agree with. You don't ever question anything that you wholeheartedly agree with. If it's something that already speaks to your spirit, then it becomes confirmation. Yeah.
But for me to agree with something, I have to understand it. Like me, I know I'm different from anybody, because I will not sing a song that I don't 100% agree with. Okay. If I know lyrics to it, or I might know a part here, a part there, but if I don't 100% agree with the song, I'm not gonna sit here and sing this whole song. If it's something that's in there that's degrading women, and I respect women as a man, I don't want to hear this song. It might have a catchy phrase in it, but it's like, I'm not finna keep feeding myself that if I don't agree with that. It's like, you wouldn't just keep eating something you don't like if you don't agree with it, unless you're trying to get healthy or something.
Right.
So
that's the difference.
It's a difference, but it's a mindset. Why would you want to listen to something you don't agree with?
But that's my point. They do agree. And that's why I'm saying it's not weak-minded. It's a different point of view than what you have. So when these people are thinking about, hey, I don't really like black people anyway. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? This happened from a black person to me. This happened from a Mexican person to me. Maybe we do need to build a wall. And you see somebody that's saying all of these things and promoting all of these things, then that becomes 100% confirmation of what you already believe. So there's no need to research it.
So that's fine, because y'all agree on A.
Yeah.
But what about B, C, D, E, F?
It don't matter.
That's the problem.
But that's what you're right. But so to me, it's not a weak mind. It's really just about, I just want to be a part of something. It's that follower mentality. It's that emptiness. You trying to fill yourself with something that'll never be there. That's
because
something different than a weak mind. Because weak minds don't get shit done. It will be that weak moral standard, right? It's the weak moral standard.
They still ain't getting nothing done.
Listen,
well, they setting us back further
for the first time in like 400 years.
They let them in.
They definitely
let them, like, if you look at, like, I think it went wrong, or it went further than they thought it was gonna go. I think they tried to make a point, and a lot of people showed up to really make a point that day, because they started finding bombs and this and that. And when they first started recording, the cameras was behind the lines. Usually the reporters is right by us, huh? They was behind the cops, so you can see them walking in. So that shows them they wasn't really expecting what they got. Now, they knew it was going to be a lot of people there. They knew it was going to be a lot of this or that, but they figured it was going to be a lot of white people showing up, and it wasn't going to pop off. Now, if they just said, hey, it's a bunch of black people showing up, they would have been ready to pop out. It would have been tear gas. They'd have had their shields that they couldn't get to that day. If you notice, it took them forever to get to their shields, because the person who was in charge of the shields either didn't show up for work that day, or they was in the bathroom.
You rolled down 2 blocks.
But if you look at stuff like that, just think about it. Even leading up until that day, you had all these millionaires, billionaires who was bragging about, oh, I bought a couple buses, so I can transport people down. We can go support Trump. Mind you, if y'all don't agree with it and that's what y'all want to do, if that's how y'all gonna protest, that's fine. But all these people ain't get on these buses with all these guns and all these bombs and shit, and you not know what the fuck is going on. The bus driver should at least knew something.
They knew.
So you should be. It's more people you should be going after. It's a lot of people that know what's going on, but they to the point where they want to dig so much to where they get to the head. They trying to cut the head off the snake, but there's so many people involved and they not moving fast enough. Then we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Listen, if you and I know that Trump was behind it, it don't take the investigators to know that.
But they wasting our time.
They're not wasting our time.
They're wasting our time and our money.
They're not prosecuting Trump. That's what they're doing. They're
because they're trying to get him reelected.
They're not going to they're not going to do anything about it.
And a lot of times the reason they don't do stuff like that is simply because they have little deals under the table, that things that have happened in the past where there was some hush money here, hush money there, and y'all agreed that we'll never bring this back up, or if I get a free pass and whenever I want to use it, stuff like that. So they have deals under the table, and you just have to honor that.
Yeah.
It ain't that they don't see that it's wrong, because a lot of them see that it's wrong. A lot of them Republicans have money tied to Trump that's tied to their states, and they go and agree with him even when they know they're wrong, because they're not even seeing the wrong. They seeing the money. They're agreeing with him, but it's like, hey, if I disagree, he might cut funding to my state.
Speaking about states, what the fuck is Texas doing right now?
What you talking about as far as this coronavirus?
Just everything. So dude done said, hey, y'all can't get abortions after 6 weeks. Everybody can get a gun. Y'all can't tell nobody you can't wear a mask. He's trying to turn this shit into the Wild Wild West all over again.
So you can't,
like, for real.
So the first thing with the abortions, I don't think you should ever get an abortion. But it's after 6 weeks or 6 months.
6 weeks. 6 months. That's a viable child.
Oh, that's why I was wondering.
It's 6 weeks.
Because I'm like, who waiting 6 months? But the thing is, they've done I'm assuming they've done the research, and they said
no, they haven't. Because listen, and this is the problem that I have, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, and please don't take it this way, but I have a real huge problem with men trying to tell women what to do with their body.
No, I don't agree with abortion at all. But I'm not gonna tell a woman what to do, because I was in a situation where I had to allow someone to make that decision. It wasn't my child, but it was my child, so I had to make. I was completely against it, but I had to allow them to make the decision for themselves. So all I'm gonna do, I gave her the pros and I gave her the cons of it, but I couldn't tell her what to do because it's her body.
So Black women specifically are dying at a higher rate in childbirth in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Behind childbirth. Mm-hmm. I lost a classmate of mine 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. She was in the hospital. Her husband and her daughter were in the room with her. She hemorrhaged and bled out because nobody believed her when she said, I don't feel right.
So in situations like that where something is wrong, mm-hmm. or something could cost the woman her life.
Yeah.
Now, if it comes down to it where she's saying, don't worry about me, just let my baby live, it's like, nah, because you can make another baby. You don't know what's going to be the condition of the baby coming out of here, because you're not in full health when you have the baby. So when a woman is making a decision and it's health related, like, hey, this could hurt the baby or it could hurt you, then that's understandable. You have certain women who, hey, it's a health, they're going to have the baby anyway, because God will provide.
What about that girl that went out on one last date with her ex-boyfriend?
And got pregnant?
And really didn't want to have sex, but did it anyway because she didn't feel like she could get out of that situation. Right? So do you classify that as rape, or she just did it? She consented because she did it to get out of there, right? Mm-hmm. And then she ends up pregnant.
You classify it as rape and you deal with the consequences. That's why it's important to get you. No,
you see why?
I'm saying,
you see why
Let me tell you why I say that. Because my foundation is you get to know a person. You realize who they are. You know what they're about. Once you know what they're about, you make your decision if you're going to stay with them or not. If you decide to stay with them, knowing what type of person they are, and you deal with them consequences, now.
What we just said was she wanted to break up with him. This is the last date ever. And she felt like she had to give it up to get out of there, to be able to be in one piece. Because, congratulations, you're not a rapist. So maybe you've never seen none of this before.
Oh,
men press.
Yes.
Certain men press.
Yes.
And so in order for me to feel like I'm not going to get beat up or he's not going to take it from me anyway, let me just go on and spread my legs. Mm-hmm. Now, if I get pregnant behind that, that's not a child I want to keep.
It's not.
But it's also not rape because I did spread my legs.
It's that's why I feel like it's very important to get to know someone, because when y'all get to a situation like that, you should.
I did, and I decided I didn't want to be with him. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, when if you decide you don't want to be with the person and y'all not gonna be together, if you mean to break up with this person, I would meet somewhere where you will be comfortable breaking up. Like, but a lot of people may not look at it that way. It's like, hey, I'm finna pull up to his house, I'm finna tell him what I gotta say, I'm gonna hop in the car and leave. You can wait in the car for me, home girl, just in case something pop out. They not thinking, well,
That's really smart.
I don't know what type of person this is.
Don't do that.
A lot of people don't do that, but you have to think situations out.
You're right.
And
it's not a situation I've been in.
But
right.
I've never been in, but it
happens every day is my point.
I've never been in that situation either, but I haven't been in that situation because I think a whole lot. So even when they're arguing about a border wall, I'm going to look at the situation from both sides. What are they doing? They running away from crime. They getting killed. They looking for a better opportunity. They to the point where a lot of these parents are they're training their kids up from the babies to 12 so they can send them across the jungle to get to America for a better life. That's
but
all.
The border wall don't mean shit. I've lived in Texas.
They gonna find a way over.
I've been to California. It's water everywhere.
So it's more about a distraction.
Yeah.
It's more about, and it's about money too. It's not just. It's when it's a lot of money slipping into the country and they can't control it and can't tax it. Then they tax it. Then they start having a problem.
Yeah.
And that's what was happening. When there's people flowing in, they can't tax them people because they can't count them people and they can't make money off them people. And so Texas is the one complaining. Arizona, all the bottom states are the one complaining because you got all these people and it's not enough money for everybody. Ain't nobody swimming across the Gulf.
Yeah, they are.
They might be on boats, but they ain't swimming across.
When's the last time you've been to Mississippi?
I haven't been to Mississippi since pre-pandemic.
So when you go to Mississippi, you're gonna be like, damn, it's a lot of Mexicans here.
They'll be there. They coming on trucks.
No, they not.
I don't think they swimming across the Gulf of Mexico.
They not swimming, but they on boats. It's a speedboat. It's nothing.
They got a further ride. I feel like more of them are coming in through Texas than Arizona and the bottom of California and New Mexico than through the speedboats. But I mean, I'm not out there searching to see either. If y'all make it over here, congratulations. I wish y'all the best. If you're gonna come over here, be on your best stuff. Be a healthy citizen. Look out for your people, whoever you gonna stay with. Like, just do what you gotta do. Like, they trying to make it seem like they come over here and committing crimes. Like, you might have one in a few, but it's more of us committing crimes than it's them committing crimes.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to play that card, but that ain't the case because they put all these kids and all these people in cages and all of them still alive. We time to get up out of here.
I don't understand.
Oh, it's time for a break? All right. We're going to take a break. I hadn't looked at my clock. I just been talking. I know we've been talking for quite a while. We're going to take cut this shit. Cut this shit. Hey, we're going to take a quick break real quick. Rillos Corn and Miss Cindy. www letter number